Okay, what is up, everybody? All right, let me see real quick. Let me know if y'all can have the ability to type or chat, because I don't know why that was an issue the other day. I think you guys. There we go. Good. Just to make sure, because last time I had a issue where we went live, and I guess it was turned on to like subscriber only, some weird setting, so folks couldn't really even comment, which is weird to me. But what's up, everybody? Pop in real quick. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube. Um, crazy world on the talk side of the house. TikTok, that is, and proposed changes and all that crap. Even here now in bans and stuff. So I'll be popping in here a few times saying, hey, if you find value in what we're doing, maybe follow me on YouTube as well. Same username, because who knows what'll happen on the TikTok side of the house. So like the Wolf of Wall Street, it's one of those things where it's like, look, we're not leaving. They have to freaking send the National Guard to pull me out of here. So they ban one, we keep going, and we just go where our bets can go. But what's up, everyone? Hanging off a little bit here. I'm teaching class tonight, our HUCMP class, but I want to at least just pop in here and just at least, talk about some of these proposed bans, on this platform and stuff. So I think it's like 5 months to do a thing. We'll see what happens. But just at least popping in so people know how to find us. If you're not my newsletter, you probably should get on that. Classes tonight, HUCMP exam class. Next Tuesday, our BDD class goes live. People have been signing up, so I'm excited for that. Hope that everyone who needs that class pops in. But let me know your branch of service and the years that you were in. And if you're rated, let me know as well. Like, when you're in the process, are you filing a claim? Are you done? Are you going to get out? Active duty? Where are you in your VA claim process journey? That's always good to know. Gabby, how are you? Let's see. Let's be honest. That's a cool username. Afternoon, my brother. Hey, good to hear from you. Good to hear from you, Miguel. Good to see you, read you, my brother. Michael, afternoon to you. Yeah, won't be on for too long. So if y'all have questions, feel free to pop them in and ask. Like I said, I'm gonna peel out here in a bit, and just relax. We got class tonight, so we got a bunch of folks popping in, so that'll be good. Um, let's see, locate there. For what, John? Specifically, finding a temp jurisdiction for what? Yeah. But hope everybody's doing well. We just got back, put a video up. We took Legend to aquatic paw place, so he got his little treadmill on in the water, so that was pretty dope. Yeah, he got some good times. So, he got his little treadmill time on. Yeah. I know, it's not time to eat yet, though. They can see in BBMS if they have JJ access to a thing. They should be able to pull some stuff out and actually, show you what's in there, but print the whole thing, you know. Let's see, how are people able to locate? Yeah, I don't know what that is, honestly. Like, if as far as their permanent total, or if their conditions are static, but specific to what? Like I said, I couldn't tell you. Temp jurisdiction, it's not clicking for me. Be careful what you're writing. Also on these social media community guidelines is crazy. They don't want obviously some certain words said, so be careful with medication or saying even cursing. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It filters it out, so it just tells me that things are being filtered. This is ridiculous. But let's see. I had a quick question. Do you have to take prescribed meds to be ready for disability? So that's a great question. No, you don't. So this is where I break down the difference between VHA, BVA. So let's be honest, for you, within the VA, right, we have Veterans Health Administration, Veterans Benefit Administration. Healthcare is healthcare, benefits are benefits, and they're two different processes. But we see VA and we think it's all connected. No, it's like Medicare and Social Security disability, right? Social Security disability doesn't give a crap about what's happening on Medicare side as far as meds or things like that, right? It's just, are you impaired? Do you have disability? Can you not work? Whatever, right? So when it comes to our side of the house here, healthcare is one thing. Ratings and compensation for VA claims are something else. So you don't have to have a prescription or use the meds, or you might or keep up with it, because when we're talking disabilities, what's the rating criteria? So, like for migraines, right, is how frequent and how intense are they? That's literally the question. And if it happens between this time or this time or this time, it's either, a 50, it's a 30, a 50, or what have you, right? So those are examples. Mental health, same thing, 0 to 100. Do you exhibit these symptoms? So it's a symptom conversation. It's a level of impairment conversation, severity conversation, not a did you take a pill conversation. But it's a good question because again, it's like I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. People have CPAPs, file for sleep apnea. They never use a CPAP. They get rated for sleep apnea. It's not a usage thing per se, right? So just uh, to kind of elaborate on that, that's how I would tackle that. But it's a good question because some people really have issues or won't file something because maybe things are not in order. Like no, that's not a thing. How to get PNT? Hope that makes sense for you. Let's be honest. My VSO was selected. Um, has selected amnesia when I ask. Uh, Selective amnesia when I ask. It depends if what he has access to, JJ. So he might not have access to BVMS. Let's see. What about getting my clicky grindy needs approved pickups? Again, how do we argue that? Do you have a diagnosis? How do we have something to point back in service? What was your MOS? How long have you been out? There's a few ways to kind of break that out. How do you get PNT when you're 100% or 100? Do you have to claim it? No. Well, there are instances that sometimes, yes, but most of the time they will not give a PNT per se if some conditions are static. If it's a first time mental health condition, I've seen that a lot where they may see that there's a probability for improvement. They'll reevaluate you, and at which time they can make a determination. Not something you request per se. Now there are instances where someone has been at 100, has had reviews, re-reviews, and everything is static, but they just didn't add the PNT. That's different because it's like, okay, we know that at this point now that should have been added, so that was an administrative thing, but not something you file for and say, "Hey, give this to me." Right? It's more so, is there a probability of improvement or not, and do we warrant more exams? Right? Let's see. In Vegas, I don't know any in Vegas. Um, Jason, I appreciate your videos. Have 4 months left, and your videos have helped. Oh, I saw some, Derek. Appreciate you. Yeah, we have some more resources. Got the BDD checklist for those folks getting out. That's my link in bio. And then next Tuesday is the BDD class we're doing live. We got people signing up for that class. So if you're transitioning, look it up. Links in my bio for that. If for whatever reason you can't make it, it will be recorded, so you can still come back to it, review it. So even if you do go to the class, you'll have the recording of the class to go back to. Because the biggest thing for some veterans that I think, or rather service members leaving service, is I'll do something as I get closer to, I have a year out or whatever, but it's a roadmap, right? So it's like there may be some concepts that may not make sense now, a year out, but as you get closer, you can revisit back. So, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's not like, hey, come only if you're 6 months out, right? Um, it's a bigger picture zoom out, but I'm glad that these things have been helpful for you. VA runs people through a ringer for no reason, even when you have documents to prove them. Yeah, and that's the fight, right? Because 68% of the time, the VA has gotten it wrong. OIG report found for medical opinions and things for VA purposes or reexaminations, they got it wrong 66% of the time on certain aspects, calling people in for exams needlessly. So there is system error, system flaws. Sometimes there's veteran error, operator error, that you're filing things wrong. Like I can look at like, okay, what you file? Give me everything. Let me see everything. And it's just like every day of the week you're getting denied. You're missing X, Y, right? Why wasn't that caught by whatever? So yeah, it's a situation. What are the cons of having 100% mental health rating? So there isn't. You have 100%. You have the symptoms. Whether or not they slap the rating, if you're at 100%, what I'm saying? Let's be realistic, right? So the question is are there any cons? No, because the fear is like, are they going to come? Am I a threat to somebody or whatever case may be? You can have no rating. If anybody detects that, your kid's doctor detects that, you're going to have a conversation. So it's not like a trigger thing per se. Again, you have to be a danger to self or others, because that's always the question for two lawful rights. But no. Again, not a thing where people can get 100. You know, mental health is not just something that happens very often. So for most folks that actually are there, they are there. Um, so yeah, the most common degree of disability for mental health is 70. What's going on, my YouTube peoples? Let me know we're back to service. Y'all will in. If you have any questions, we're talking a little bit. For those just tuning in here, I'm on YouTube as well, live in two places. If you're not following there, please do so to continue the conversation. Same username, Veteran DP. More so because of, as the title says, right, this potential ban. What's going to happen? What may happen? 5 months, sell the company, China, whatever. one monkey don't stop the show. So it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? If we pivot, we pivot. So we're gonna keep helping veterans. We've been doing it before we were doing it like this. We're doing it like this. We started from scratch over on TikTok and spent time there, grew that audience. On YouTube, a different platform, different situation, but we're back on that, growing that as well. So this is all kind of organically built. I don't pay for ads. I don't pay for boost posts. I just show up like this, even though I'm teaching class here in a few hours. You can't script these things. But again, whatever may happen, have a backup. Make sure you're on a newsletter because I do believe what we're doing helps veterans. Some people, they get out, we help them, they send our content to somebody else. But if a platform goes away, how do you tell them about us, right? So get on the newsletter, right? Follow us on other social media platforms to make sure you're up on the know. Or my website has everything at veteransnetwork.club. Um, I signed up for your BDD class. Sweet, Pookie. I'll see you next Tuesday. That's awesome. Can I file BDD claims? So Kyle's different from Skill Bridge because the 180 to 90-day window is kind of when all that kicks off officially to do a thing. So I don't think they'll do an exception for the Skill Bridge per se. Is there a FOIA request you can get on LHLR? No, you can do a FOIA request to get your records and examination records, which will include, Sabrina, your HLR as well. Intent to file expires a couple of days. File new claim before supplemental claim. So a supplemental claim is not, again, is a supplemental claim for something that was denied within the year. If not, and you're just coming back after a long time, then that intent to file is tied to that supplemental claim going now, right? But if let's say you got denied for something and you're appealing that from last year, that's a different pathway to the intent to file you have right now. So like, what are you doing as far as that's concerned? Okay, so if I don't take meds, it won't affect my current. No. So, and again, that's not a thing too, because like, okay, I got meds doesn't mean I'm fucking swallowing them either. But again, there's many reasons why for many veterans. Like so a lot of veterans have a CPAP, but they just can't use it. They're claustrophobic, dermatitis, all these different issues. And that's actually a video series I'm thinking about putting out for the proposed changes, right? I've covered this in a video, but I want to do a video kind of series, not series, 'cause I hate, but more so like a video specific for mental health, one for sleep apnea, one for tinnitus, and more so from the mentality of the proposed changes are in effect. How do I now do this, right? And kind of talking through let's say all these things that are proposed are passed. This is how we handle now mental health and how we argue a thing. Here's how we handle sleep apnea. Here's how we handle tinnitus. We prepared. We have a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, that doesn't make any difference at all, right? Like if I like to always make these examples, but if you know how to fight, I don't just rely on a hook. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care. You want to grab on the ground, get ready to get choked out. You want to freaking do a standing game, chin time. You know what I'm saying? So we have tools to kind of go at different things. So no matter what the changes are, it's like okay, I get it. This is criteria. How do we solve the problem now? You know what I mean? So yeah. But let's see. How do I go about starting a claim before I get chapter out? Robbie, so that's different on your side, right? Are we looking at you being guard, being on orders, active duty, AGR, M-Day, state orders? What are you going to file a claim to? Were you active duty before? Do you have any LODs, line of duty, documentation? There's so many variables to factor in, in your case, as far as how the argument could be made. If I got medevaced from, so Miguel, so being medevaced, something happening, you're not going to be rated because you were medevaced or because of an injury. Rather, it's post-injury now what happens, right? I'm not being rated because I was shot. I'm being rated because they hit a nerve and now I have a drop leg situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'd look at it. It's really more so, okay, this happened. That's showing that something happened in your case, Miguel. But now it's what has happened from then to now. What are you dealing with from that situation? What happened? What was the situation that medevaced you? And is that condition still now prevalent, and is it disabling in some shape, fashion, or form? And do the symptoms marry up to the rating criteria to make that argument, right? So that's kind of how we have to solve the problem, right? It's like, okay, what do we have? What's the terrain? How do we maneuver and get a plan of action? So when I look at claims, again, it's like the matrix. It's like, okay, what do we have? So whenever people type stuff, like you'll never hear me say, do a thing, because I can't. Anyone who can just outright answer a question, say, well, how do I get an increase? Well, do this at the third. Wrong. Because you have no context to give the answer. So it's almost like when you talk to a doctor, like I cough, so what are my options for surgery? I don't even know the context of what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need more. But in your case, yeah, potentially you can have a disability, but it's really more so is the condition currently at a level that is disabling? Can it be rated? Can an argument be made? The fact that you were medevac, something happened, shows that in service there's an event. So you have an event in service, but you have a current diagnosis, what's happening post, and then how we connect those three. So that's the three things we look at for service connection: nexus, that diagnosis, an in service event or stressor, and a nexus to connect those things. Checking the status of the claim, VA.gov, it'll tell you kind of where it's at, where it's at in the process, pending decisions, gathering evidence, etc. Excuse me. I have had the right left knee replacement. I'm connected for 10 for both ankles. Can you get secondaries? Yeah, you can get secondaries, Robbie. Now the question is, and that's a good example, 'cause I always use knees as an example. So I always say like my left knee is service connected, and that's it. Now fast forward some years, my right knee gets worse because I overcompensate. Now I can claim my right knee secondary to my left knee, but it also caused issues with my foot. My gait walk is off. My spine now has a problem. One, two, three. Those three can go secondary, for example, to the left knee. And then, let's say there's a whole situation of chronic pain, and I'm now having to deal with medication that in turn causes, let's say, GERD. That's an argument potentially. So there's different ways this all goes. And when you say it out loud, I know some people are going to be like, "Oh my goodness, you're giving me the system, blah 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 blah." It's like, man, shut up. Because when you go to the doctor, it's like, okay, what are we working with? Because some veterans are like, well, I've had migraines all this time. I never knew about it. I'm like, it's kind of a common thing when you have, let's say, something like PTSD, right? Or it's a common thing that you would have some sleep problems if you have this ringing in your ear. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to see, like, what is it all you are dealing with? So secondary, yeah, there's different things that you can argue again, but that's unique to you, right? What are you dealing with? I appreciate your content 100%. If people apply what you speak, it's that simple. And that's the part where, like, I just had a conversation today with someone, with one of my advisors right before this. I was like a minute late. And she was talking to like a vet. And, I always tell folks, like, look around, get options, right? But if you're like, hey, DP, man, rock with me, help me with this stuff, whatever the case may be, then listen and take commands from the tower. The minute you start adding other people's perspective into it, like I'm over here for the last, let's say, 20 minutes, right? I'm just answering questions. I'm trying to teach a thing. I'm trying to share some knowledge. I'm trying to give value. You know what I do, right? Like I know a thing or two about this, obviously. But then you walk into somebody at the VA who you've never met and randomly says, hey, you should, did you do this thing? Make sure you look into it. And now it's like, well, let me just listen to that person. I'm like, who is that person? And where do you get off? Oh, you heard what you wanted to hear, thinking you're going to get something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to cheat your way out of it. Like we got a gym membership and we're there at 5 in the morning getting that work in, but you want to take a quick pill. Not going to work. But yeah, it works if you put the work into it. And again, some work may mean it may take some time. I got one vet denied 5 times for migraines over 3 years. He eventually got it. Ain't no fat lady singing. Jesse, secondary to migraines and migraine meds, IBS. I'm 50%. Migraines, medications, the GERD, that's the thing as well there. The mental health is an argument potentially there. Lifestyle impact is an argument there. The meds, not so much, but more so with the meds maybe cause, and then also with the migraine causes, because you could have depression, anxiety, and things like that too, as secondary. So yeah, those are all valid things. Are you ready for anything else, Jesse? The VSO said that I need my doctor to do a nexus letter. My doctor said he can't. Where do I go? There's a directive at the VA that says they have to actually do it. 1131, I think, is the directive itself. But there is actually a directive at the VA where they're supposed to help you. It's actually there. It's literally a directive at the VA. However, they don't want to do it. That's what it comes down to. And when a veteran runs into this, even if you take that letter to the doctor and you tell the doctor, hey, it says here you're supposed to help me, how good do you think that letter is going to be in your benefit? It's like going on a date with someone who's forced to go out with you. They don't want to dance with you. It's because grandma said so. You know what I'm saying? So in this instance here, what do you need the nexus letter for? Official issues, right? What are you filing and what nexus do you need? And I'll be able to kind of give you some context. I can't own a pew-pew if you're granted. Nah, lies. Let's see. Active duty diabetic and going to be MedSep for... No, again, it comes down to what's the severity of it. Where are you pre-diabetic? It's something that can be managed. Like many variables there. So again, I don't know. Is it are you operationally able to do a thing, or do they deem that, hey, this is not something that blah blah blah? Any advice for going after SMCs? You don't go for them, right? The question is, any advice for going for SMCs? No real advice, because it's more so it triggers off a thing. So if you have ED, that rates 0, but that's loss of use. So, but then that can rate a SMCK. but that's not just an ED thing, right? People assume SMCK is ED. No, SMCK can be FSAD, female S arousal disorder. It could be loss of smell. It could be loss of taste. It could be a variety of things. It's just loss of use of an organ. We just attribute ED as the first thing people talk about. But you don't get SMCK, rather, because you're rated for the ED, it triggers SMCK. Or you're 100% for one thing, 60, 70 or more for other things, that kicks off an SMC S1. Or other conditions, like you're missing two limbs, then, the other letters start kicking in. So that's kind of how that would go, right? Is it possible to lose your current rating when the VA does their follow-up SAG? If you got better, right? So it's one of those things where, again, being facetious, right? The VA, like I went to 100, for example, me personally, um, and I didn't get PNT the first time. I just got to 100. The VA said, "Hey, we'll check you out. Make sure you see if you got better." Check, got it. 5 years to the date. They call me back in there. Go in. It's like, okay, yep, we're gonna. It stays, right, and then the PNT was added. Um, my approach to that is more saying like, okay, you saw me 5 years ago, you saw me now, it's gotten worse. So you want to dance again and have this conversation, then I'm gonna whoop your ass at the freaking CMP, and not whoop your ass and then beating you, but rather I'm gonna be able to express it and show what argues that I'm still where I'm at, or if not worse. However, if things have improved, then that's a different conversation. Um, what's the deal with non-combat terror claims, Jesse? There's no, so it's not terror's terror. Terror has nothing to do with combat or not combat, but it's toxic exposure risk activity. Basically, your job, your MOS, you were exposed to things, toxins. Some people were not in Vietnam, but they were in other locations that processed Agent Orange chemicals, or they were refuelers and they were bathed almost in JP8 fuel, or they were in the hull of a ship and they were exposed to asbestos, etc. So that all now factors into were you exposed to toxic things, and if so, Terra factors all those points there, whether it was stateside or combat. Let me know if that makes sense. VA keeps requesting records from me that I already have, but haven't processed. From me, the VA keeps requesting records from me that they already have, but haven't processed. You could write a note to the effect of this was submitted already, blah blah blah, and kind of put it in paper, just because again, someone might be dropping it. So I would upload, "Hey, here's what's missing. AK, I already gave it to you," or "I'm gonna give it to you again with a note of like, this is the second time I'm giving it to you," because again, there's humans behind the scenes. Um, Chrissy, that's for you there. Wansky, I literally mentioned you like two times in the last few lives. I had someone the other day and they were like, "Get the likes up, get the likes up." And I was like, "Man, is Wansky up in here?" So it's funny when that happened. I was like, "Oh, my man Wansky started the whole trend." Jordan Harris, you the man, DP. Thank you again, Brian. Man, Jordan, I'll tell you, so I did a video. I have to understand that social media is weird, right? So I'm hyper critical about things and how I say them, but it's weird to me in social media. People see the content, et cetera, and I always have to kind of say a thing like I want to say, hey, you may have, I'll talk like you have seen something I've created. The reality is, social media, you've probably seen a quarter of what I created. Like if you go to my page and scroll down, like, oh shit, I've never seen any of this crap, and shorts now and all these other things. My point is that I put a video up of I think it was like this black guy. He was like crying and he's whatever, and the whole thing was like that via denial. Like one of those short posts is kind of digging at denials and all that good crap, right? Two freaking divorces, been fired 5 times, and Jordan makes a comment to the effect of like, I feel like Forrest Gump with the VA when Jenny freaking broke his heart, and I was like, well, run this way, Forrest. That was like October, November time. And he recently won his claim because it was a whole thing. Got 100, they reduced him, a whole thing. But again, even then, you were 100, you got to reduce. Now nobody can help you. What do? Fast forward, he got his 100 back. So congrats to Jordan. But yeah, I mean, like those are things that they stand out. And it's just crazy how these things work out. But yeah, that video is crazy. I've been meaning to do respond to your comment in that video as a mission accomplished. He got it. But then I didn't want to put you out there because then people be freaking blowing up your phone and be like, oh, what they blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to get too much unneeded attention to the people. Let's see, I was diagnosed with before getting out. However, my claim was denied this time. You can fight it back. No, no. If you had it in service, you can make an argument there too, Zach. So yeah, why did it deny? That's the question, I guess. Got diagnosed with sleep apnea, but not connected. Can I get a secondary to PTSD, which I have rated for? Yes, Ramrod, but that's a long stretch because they deny those every day of the week. So you're gonna need a strong nexus letter to really argue those points because I see that denied a lot. How about no diagnosis because the doctor had not written this, but had surgery for chronic sinusitis? So diagnosis of what? Chronic sinusitis? They operated without diagnosing? Can a reservist file a VA claim? Yeah, it's just how we're going to point it back to service in some shape, fashion, or form. Let's see, chaos. Should I wait to file secondary to tinnitus until I know if the VA is getting rid of the tinnitus? No, chaos. No, don't stop progress because of that. So, no, do what you got to do. Because again, the tinnitus change is just moving it under the hearing loss side of the house. So it becomes okay, you don't have any of these things. So in turn, now you have this. It's just where it sits. Before it used to be in the chain of hearing loss. Like, okay, you got no hearing loss, but you do have tinnitus. That's like the bottom of the barrel there. Um, because your auditory, stuff and everything is where it's fine. And then they pulled it out, make tinnitus its own thing. Now they're gonna put it back in there potentially, proposed into the mix. So it doesn't necessarily change the argument. It's just how you file it now and have to go through the process. But no, I wouldn't hold progress based off potential changes that are not even there. Because even if they do that change, the implementation's a process, the whole thing. No. Sent sleep apnea is a secondary to my PTSD with Nexus letter. Now playing the waiting game, Jose. Okay, where'd you get Nexus from? Salson, you never saw my question. I did not. What did you write? Again, I say it a few times. Depending on what you write, things get screened. So I'm literally going down and reading what I can read here. So, um, ask it again. But no, I did not see it, Salson. You and your organization's knowledge helped me. Total pressure. Appreciate you, total pressure. Gracias. Okay. Okay, we got that. Cert for the reservists. How long after all my CMP exam will I know what I get? Crapshoot, honestly. It could be days, weeks, or months. The VA's backlog is insane. So it depends how many claims were in, their complexity. They may remand some things, aka they may say we're not done with this, but we're done with that. How many things were rated? 5 for 5 things, 2 get rated, 3 get deferred. So it really depends. Any words of wisdom for going? Yeah, I think I covered that already as far as SMC. So I think we got that. Been dealing with severe back pain, neck pain for 20 years. Need help to get higher. Are you under care? Are you ready for anything? Where are we at with that? Sunny, what's a nexus letter? A nexus letter is a medical opinion. NEXUS means connection. So basically, it's helping a veteran connect an in-service event to a current diagnosis. And usually it's, hey, I'm under care. My doctor knows that this back situation is from service, but he won't say that. But my records show that I fell out of a truck 10 years ago, and today I have chronic back situations, but I can't argue medically that connection or have something to add. I'm saying it, but I need medical proof, right? A nexus looks at that, right, and it's an opinion. So let's say, for example, something you bring me your documents, I look at it, and it's like, okay, I don't, I'm evaluating your stuff, and based off my expertise and reading your stuff and seeing what you had in service done, seeing what you're at right now currently, given your age, all these different things, I believe in some shape, fashion, form, are they connected? And I give a rationale as a medical provider, give my opinion, kind of like an assessor of a house, right? What's the situation? What do I value the house at? Where do I, value your argument at as a medical professional? So that's what that means for a nexus letter. And there's things that go in there, reports, studies, rationale, all these different things to help make the argument. Can I file insomnia without a diagnosis secondary to tinnitus anxiety? Don't do that. No. Can I service get a VA claim? Yep. Big Red Express. Our claims for increases to no, they're probably gonna go through the same thing. Claims for increases, brand new claims, they're all going to go through the same process because a brand new claim is going to call for a CMP to get a rationale if it's service connected and see the severity. And if it's an increase, they'll call for a CMP just to see the severity. So it's still going to go through the same process. It's just more, did it get worse, right? In some shape, fashion, or form. How do ED get paid? An SMCK of 108, whatever, not 110 a month, whatever it is. As you get rated, how long until they check up on you again? 3 to 5 years. Chrissy, you're welcome. My man Wansky. Quick question. I submitted my claim. When I go back to check the progress, there's nothing now. That's the system. You know what I mean? Sadly, it's just, I look up VA.gov or, e-benefits and you'll see different things. I got TBI at 0. Check. Okay. What are you trying to do with that, Raya? Thanks for the info, DP. Appreciate you, Zach. Are the people who do your exams on the way out on your side? They're doing a job, honestly. So I wouldn't say that they're necessarily doing, on your side. They're just doing a job. And in that, sometimes people have bad days at work, which end up with you not having a good situation. But I think for our veterans, I'm going to include that also in the BDD class next week. Because my thought process is the way I attack VA claims, right? CMP rather. It's more about conveying to somebody what's happening now. It's not I'm filing a claim because I fell or something happened to me. I'm arguing what's happening to me, and I'm having a human conversation and showing in my life how these things impact me in ways that I have to open up Pandora's box. as you're leaving service, the same thing. Sometimes we're so quick on just getting to 14 and leaving that we don't just have a conversation like pump the brakes. I get it, you want to get out, but what the F is going on here? And having that real conversation about what's really happening, even if you never complained about it because I want to get promoted, I want to do a thing, but that's it, I'm out. This is actually what's going on. That's a big thing. So even on the exit side, right? It depends. Like, did you, cover things or just kind of say yes, 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 no, 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 just to get out of there, right? But for the most part, no one wakes up to go screw somebody. You know what I mean? That's just the reality. So I always skew to the positive in that regard. CMP exams are mandatory for rating increases. Yeah, unless they have things where they may not need it, or they have proof at the VA, or things already in records where they may not need to call you. So sometimes there'll be ACE exams where you don't get called in and the medical evidence is there, so you don't need that, and they won't call you in. Still okay for class. Still on for class at. Well, for me, it's a yeah. So class tonight. Yeah, so I'm about to pop out of here in a minute in Free Legend. Yeah, class tonight. My CMP ACE CMP exam class is tonight. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So we kick start VA CMP class today. And then Tuesday coming up, we kick off our BDD class. So that's live for folks there too to hit the links in my bio for those two classes. But I'm excited for next week. First one we're kicking off. So that's going to be the cat's pajamas. But yep, class tonight in a few hours. How long does it usually take to get an extra letter back from submitting to the doctor? Days, weeks, a week. Is permitting my issue at filing out VA handles? I don't know. Just I think I might be missing something. Is permitting my issue at filing and filling out VA handles it? Well, no, the VA they're if you can file for two mental health claims, so you don't do the whole pyramiding thing. Rather, like you're filing a claim, they're gonna do the thing they do. So you have anxiety and you argue that you have PTSD and you argue that obviously you're not gonna get both of them, but the VA will decide what to award, right? They in turn are not gonna pyramid and they'll give you PTSD with anxiety, but they won't give you both, right? So that's what I would say as far as that's concerned. Um, let's see, why shouldn't I do that? I think Connor was the one with the diagnosis because the VA at the exam is to examine you, not to diagnose you. That's not what it's there for. Can they? Yeah, but you're chancing it. So why go in there hoping that they hook it up? Go in there with what they need to do the review. How long does you take? I got that. All right, CMP is mandatory. Depends. Got that. Oh, low back pain, depression, insomnia, secondary to lateral legs. Yeah, that's an argument. Will you guys go through a medical record? Well, you guys go through a medical record to look for stuff. No, the medical partners I partner with that I put you in contact with, they do all that. Let's see. How much credence do raters put into medical records from private doctors? The CMP providers are private doctors. I partner with people who are private doctors who literally were CMP examiners. That's the joke. Let's see. Hey DP, looking well, mate. Appreciate you. I'm at 100% PT per total. Is it worth going for more? I'm afraid because I don't have any problems with the first. I don't want to. No, I wouldn't touch it. Damn, Sonny, I wouldn't touch it. No, unless you have something that's life threatening, you're good. You know what I mean? Put a fork in it. Something life threatening pops up, whatever case may be, different conversation. But there's no need. Or if there's something for ancillary benefits. I spoke at one time about one of the vets on my team whose husband has MS, and they went through an issue trying to get him certain things he needed because of his limitation of motion, body, etc. Long story short, he wasn't rated for the back condition in this case. Once he was rated for that back condition, regardless of the fact that he was 100, they were able to argue ancillary benefits because now I'm saying, hey, because of this rated thing, they're gonna go out there and buy me a new sofa, some crap like that. So ancillary benefits sometimes are part of the rationale to push something. So when somebody says, "Oh, don't go past 100," stop. You don't know the context. Like, why? Because there's some people that they're 100 and they still have to go file a claim or do a thing to facilitate a thing. So that's an example. If you get med boarded due to a car crash, can you still? Yeah, it's possible, Benjamin. It's a symptom based. Yeah, you could go to 100. Can I DM you a personal question about an exam? Yeah, shoot it to me. I'm back here on TikTok at least about 100 messages I'm trying to catch up on, and I got class tonight, so it might take me a little bit, but yeah, I'll get back to you. 80% are dragging feet on my supplemental claims. Yep. Thanks. Sorry about the grammar. Oh, please, man, look, grammar. It's freaking social media. Don't care about that. I got a CMP tomorrow. For what? Med board mentioned took me 3 times already. Should I go for it or just wait until ITS? It depends on you, honestly. How long is here to there? Some people will try to stick it out to ETS and then be like, crap, I should have got out because it's getting worse. So if they're seeing that you shouldn't, look into that, right? How much percentage you usually get for mental health med? You don't get anything for mental health med. Mental health goes off symptoms, so that's kind of how they treat that. Got a CMP tomorrow. Metaz, what's for? Does a VBA accept next letter from Telemedica? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to talk poo-poo on them, but any provider, they'll accept it. It's probative value. It's in the law. It's in the CFR. They have to accept and weigh the evidence. So it's not a thing. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Because, again, people that work for even these private organizations, they used to also work at the VA. Lower back, nerve damage, secondary to low back. Okay, what's your total rating? Or is that a company they don't accept? Nah, it's not a thing. That blacklisted crap, it's not true. Is it guaranteed 100%? No, they're going to weigh it, right? So it's probative value. They're going to weigh the evidence, but it's, again, an overall picture of a thing. Check. Okay. 70% for those. What else you got? Mental health claim also? I'm at 70 now. Okay. What did you get a nexus from them for? I know them very well, so just do a Google search. I guess the better question is, if it wasn't service related, can I still get if it was before service and service made it worse, maybe. Benjamin. Got my exams done a month and a half ago. They didn't do 5 months, the things I claim. Can I get a part? Yeah, they could do a partial thing. They could like award some and then hold off a few others. That happens. Next is for headaches. Okay, and you have a diagnosis of headaches. Are you arguing the headaches direct to service or secondary? I'm about to shit all over your freaking coaches, people you're working with, freaking stuff right now. Check. Okay, and so how are you filing it? Primary or secondary? And this is the first time you're filing migraines. That's why you got the letter, right? Or it was denied and you're trying to get service connected. Can I get rating for TBI? What a physical cause? Yeah, because on TBI is the brain. So some people, they have, auditory problems, verbal problems, visual problems, cognitive problems. So sometimes it's not a physical thing. So it depends how it manifests. Secondary. Okay, secondary, I'm assuming to something mental health or whatever case may be. Check. Yeah, pretty straight argument there. Intensity, severity. Third time I've been denied twice. Check. So the next letter comes in play. You're at 70, you got a 50, that'll push you maybe to 80 and change, if it's depending if you're a raw 70 or not. Yeah, so that'll move the needle up, but it won't push it as far as, what I'm saying, like, to take you to 100%. Yeah. Can I claim sleep apnea secondary to mental health? Yeah, but you're going to need a nexus letter. That gets denied a lot. What happens if CMP opinion differs from the doctors you've been seeing for claimed issues? You appeal, because at the end of the day, you hide. So the argument is that's what the irony is, right? Hi, I am a doctor. I am a CMP examiner. Now I'm doing work privately for veterans. Same doctor, same opinions, same stuff. The VA holds it how they hold it. So really, sometimes it's like, hey, you've been seeing this doctor for 10 years. Who are you to tell me that dude, that quack for one day sees otherwise? Appeal it, push back. You know what I'm saying? Like, the argument has to make sense. Hey brother, just got out last year, went to my VSO late December, still waiting on my appointment, got 8 tips, recommendations. So you haven't filed anything at all, Leon? Is that what you're saying basically? When's your appointment with your VSO? Still waiting on my appointment from December. That's that free help for you. Geez Louise. So you haven't filed anything, Leon, I'm assuming, is the thing there. Monka, can you take him out real quick to me? Okay. I just like your overtime, as usual. Let's see, just got 100% PNT after 10 years. That's what's up, Benjamin. CMP did not list all symptoms I wrote out and told them, should I do it in HLR for supplemental lay statement? What for, Christopher? What do you mean? What symptoms? What did you file for? What was the CMP for? Thanks for the follows, people. Again, if you're popping in, again, I don't know what's going to happen on TikTok. I'm on TikTok here. I'm on YouTube here. So I'm literally live in 2 places at the same time. If you're not following me on YouTube, you can probably do that, because if TikTok gets banned or goes away, guess what? I'm just going to talk this way to the camera. We don't, one monkey don't stop the show. Getting back pay from sleep apnea. Kevin, that's what I'm talking about. Bam, 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 bam. Reggie. He thinks it's a game now. I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia recently. Can I use that for primary or secondary claim? Easy money. So, winner chicken dinner. Kevin's buying chicken for everybody with that 13 month of back pay. I see you, Playboy. That's good stuff, man. a long journey, a headache, but good shit. So easy money for you, right? So we have to understand first of all what's a primary, what's a secondary. If you're saying something is direct to service, right? Do you have something to point in service where I complained about it, it was caused or made worse by that? If I don't have that argument, then am I going secondary to something I already have and saying that is what caused the situation? So in your case, right, is the fibro something you can connect to service directly? If not, maybe it's a secondary to something else, right? So that really depends on what you're working with, what's your situation, what's your service, etc. Is Terra different Pack Act? Yes, it is. So Pack Act is an expansion of thing, but they kind of together. But Terra as a whole is for any veteran if you've been exposed to anything that is toxic in some shape, fashion, or form. Let's see, Ernest, thank you for doing what you're doing. What you do, awesome. Thanks, appreciate it. Hey, look, man, like that's the whole thing. If I know that we can help people. Tonight, I'm teaching my CMP, ACE CMP exam class. So if you have a CMP coming up, I'm literally teaching a class tonight. So link in bio for that. Next Tuesday, we're hitting our BDD class. I've been excited for that. Somebody active duty. It's for the active duty folks. It's a VA claim class for active duty folks. The whole roadmap thing. So that's next Tuesday. Links in my bio for that. It's going to be a great class. We got people sign up. People are on the wait list. People are signing up. So I'm excited for that. But tonight is Wednesday night, and we do CMP today. Yes, sir. Migraines, weekly capacity, and did not list. Weekly capacity and did not list, so only 30. Um, so beyond the weekly capacity, so okay, frequency and severity, but did you touch on the economic impact? Did you touch on anything work related? Because at the 50 range, that's the third part too, right? It's the severity and intensity, and also the economic inadaptability, right? Like what's happening work wise, how's that impacting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see, how much for tonight's class? Is that what you're asking? Have a CMP exam coming up. Any pointers? Again, what are you working with? That's literally that's what I'll say all the time, right? Like, where are we? Is this the first claim? Are you going for the increase? Have you been denied before? What are we working with? Is it direct to service situation? I mean, is it direct to service? Is it a secondary you're filing for? All that, what I'm saying? We have to know the entries of attack. Let's see. He stayed ready. On YouTube, deferred VA claim for vertigo and GERD. They cited it under Tera and requested another exam and opinion. The kicker is I never filed under Tera, so it's just bad. No, that's good. So that's the whole thing. So Tera again is for everyone. So that's great because literally on TikTok, somebody asked about Tera, and now here the TikTok is Tera different from Pack Act? YouTube is things were added to my claim I didn't file for, but it's saying Tera. So Tera again, Tera toxic risk exposure risk activity is like, hey, if this veteran is assumed by job location, whatever the case may be, to have been exposed to something toxic, do a Tera, because now it's like, hey, we have to look into the situation. Because before it's like I keep beating the system saying I was at Fort McLennan, now exposed to these things, I have these problems. Now it's like, okay, check, let's go ahead and give them now the benefit of the doubt and kind of look into that. So that's good stuff. They're just kind of make a point to see if they can tie it in with Tera, which is in your benefit. Hey brother, when is the tinnitus and other things supposed to happen? It's not. It's literally proposed. I have a whole 10-minute video for that I break it down and show you. But the suspense date for that is June of this year. It was proposed April of 2022. So we're just waiting to see if it actually gets passed or not. So it's not approved as far as what's going to happen. And the proposal is just that. What actually comes out, because it was February to put that out for changes. They had till April for feedback, again, pushback, and then whatever actually gets pushed final, then that'll happen, and then whatever long it takes to implement. So that's the answer for that. How long does the VA have to reply to your claim? Over 180, 50 days, depending on kind of the situation. Besides that, like what he's talking about right now, I don't even see who he's responding to. Abe, yep. Well, be honest, yep. Class for tonight, yeah, $47. I have an acoustic. I have acoustic neuroma. Do you know how they'll rate that? I read it's 60 for brain tumor, but wait for the next point to come up. Diagnosed in service. Okay, your class is tonight. What's the other part to that, Connor? Let's see. I'm still active duty. EAS end of the year. There's a deadline to submit. No. Again, depending on the proposed Met board within that 180-day window, then the BDD kicks in potentially, but you're going to be different there. Oh, no, no, no. So yeah, we had to start adding that because only for like our vets that we have working with those classes, but not opening it up to folks that, just popping again, you're not working with us directly, you don't have an advisor or anything like that. So those are being treated now as one-off. So no, not you're fine, Kevin. Like I said, that's the whole thing of trying to, add different things of like, hey, maybe you don't need a full-blown support, right? Maybe you just need to take a class. So that's like a little one-offs and things like that. Well, I do a Q&A for the BD class. Oh yeah, that's yeah, every time. There will always be a Q&A. Everything, even tonight's class, right? I'm gonna go at it for 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'll answer questions until you're done. And same like this, I'll just sit there answering questions. BDD class, same thing. We'll do the material, and then we'll ask questions and start giving, perspective on all these different things. Um, I filed intent to file last year, barely getting my exam scheduled. As long as you submitted the claim, it doesn't matter. Once it's in, they could drag another year, and then if you win your claim, they'll have to back pay for 2 years. So I submitted a request for a phone call, but I haven't received a response on my side. Or what, Daniel? Had a full knee replacement claim in November 23rd, still nothing. Full knee replacement claim in November 23rd, nothing. What's the time frame? It depends, honestly. It's just so many variables when it comes to these things. Um, let's see, Daniel. Shoot me an email, and I'll take a look at that and see actually who you were assigned to, see what happened there. Because I know that it automatically is supposed to send an email, so you should have got an email verifying all that, and then I'll see who you were assigned to and see what happened there. Technology, it happens. But yeah, I'll look into it. Shoot me a direct message with your email and full name so I can look it up. Can I go back, file a claim? For sure, Dan. Um, what's your situation, Daniel? You going? You're file a claim? Like, give me the skinny real quick. Where you at? What's going on? What you trying to do? Can I go back and file a claim against the Army? I received severance pay 20%. Can I go back? Not back, but you can file against the Army for what? Receive severance pay 20% rating. Can I go back? Well, again, in what way of ration? You know what I'm saying? How can I get guidance in Southwest Florida? It depends. Again, I'm virtual, so I'm not location based, but there's VSOs, VFWs, American Legions, and different organizations out there potentially you can reach out to. Legend. My service dog loves my hats, and he got it again. This daggone dog. Let's see. Is better appealing myself or with a lawyer? I'm 20% now. Appeal what? And where are you gonna get? So okay, you're at 20%. What are you trying to appeal? Do you know how to appeal it? Do you know the way forward? Do you know other things to add potentially? Do you understand the arguments to make? Do you know what's needed? What's your plan of action? If you don't have a decent grip on what's your argument and pushback, then that's where the lawyer's supposed to step in, right? And give you some kind of support, but sometimes even that can be lackluster. What are you trying to do? Is it even worth it, right? Like, what's the 20% for, and why would you get a lawyer, and what are you trying to appeal? Because again, depending on what it is, I'll tell you straight up, I'm like, you're wasting your time. Don't even do that. Do something else. How can a veteran buy back their time as a federal worker? You get a form when you're federal. I forget the form it is right now, but basically you'll be able to like they'll give you an estimate. It goes to DFAST. They'll calculate your time and tell you how much you would have to pay, and then basically you'll be paying that either lump sum or over the tenor of your career. But that is the thing all veterans go to. You'll get that buyback option with HR. Like you just ask HR, they'll give you the paperwork, fill it out, goes to DFAST, however long it takes for that to happen, and then they get back to you with like, an amount for retirement purposes. Let's see. Currently, 90%. I want to claim migraine. Is it better to claim as a primary or secondary sleep apnea? Again, if you have the argument to file migraines direct to service, did you complain to service? You have records for that? That's fine. If you don't have that and you can only argue it's secondary, then that's an argument, but a nexus letter may help because, again, help you understand how this has made it worse or caused it. I'm doing PTSD claim. They told me that they're sending me a form to fill out. What form is this? The fact you fill out a PTSD claim without a 781, that right there tells you you're just shooting in the wind. Again, you don't know what you don't know. But yeah, there's a form that should be filled out. If you didn't do a 781, that's specifically saying this is the traumatic event I'm talking that caused the situation, location, time frame, brief synopsis of what happened. And that's part of the process. It has to be in there because you're saying a traumatic event happened and I have PTSD. What traumatic event? So there's a form for that. For personal assault MST claims, there's a 781 alpha, which is a personal assault PTSD claim form. Okay, let's see. Again, if you guys are not on my newsletter, what are you doing? Make sure you're following, subscribing. Follow me on YouTube. Again, I don't know what's going to happen on the TikTok side of the house, but get on my newsletter, links in my bio, just so at least we can communicate things and you know what we're doing. We're not going to stop. We just show up different places. That's all. Um, but I'm excited, man. It's a lot of cool things we got going on. Built that whole course for next week. You'll have access to a website. It's a whole thing, man. Like a lot of work went into it. So I'm really excited for that class for the BDD. And more so because again, like the question, right? How much is the class? It's $47. The class for the active duty transitioning people, like 67 bucks. You know, if you're on a wait list, you got a discount. My point is, someone that leaving active duty, they need support, they need help, but it doesn't have to be a thing of like, oh, go sign up with this company or ABC claims 102. No, you don't need to sign a contract with nobody. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people like, don't do that. Okay, so I don't talk to these people. Some VSOs says they can't help me. And the people who are supposed to help me do the VDD process are nowhere to be found. So what the hell am I supposed to do here, right? Who do I ask questions? Because everybody seems like you're untouchable, like you have the plague when you're kind of leaving active duty. And for me, it's like, no, I think a class, we did a checklist, it's free, links in my bio, but having a checklist, understanding, okay, I'm gonna get out next year, what should I start to look at? What should I do right now? Planning to get out, right? I have issues, time to deal, and pay the Pied Piper. And then a class to see the overall process and fill in those gaps and just answer questions just like this. Like, why is that not happening? So I think that's something that came out of people asking questions like this. And so I'm excited that we were able to put that course together. So that's why I'm kind of putting it out there again, because people always say, hey, I'm getting out, any advice? Get in the class, join the class. That's what it's for, to give you all the advices. Um, let's see. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, so 781 for you, TikTok. My board, lower back, mental pain, health. Daniel. Okay, crap, I forgot what the hell you asked earlier. Shit. So got the anxiety, but approved tinnitus. How should I go about appealing? Why did it deny Ronnie the anxiety? Did it say you had no diagnosis or you couldn't connect in the service? Did you complain in service? And if not, again, there's gaps in there. So what were the gaps they proposed that you had? And that'll dictate how to push back. I like your advice on the following. I submitted a high-level review claim for a claim that was denied and high-level review found in my favor and was sent back for error. Does that mean the provider who evaluated me has to fix the error in your favor? No, no. It could just be they forgot to check a box and the box didn't help you anyway. So again, they could find an error, but the error isn't an error that's in your favor. It's more procedural. Something should have happened that did not happen. We must fix this error. There indeed was a failure of a thing that happens. The veteran gets their hopes up and they still get denied. So it's not a thing that's like in your favor or against your favor. It's what has to happen because again, there's an error in there. So at times it could go in the veteran's favor, but I don't want you to think of it from the perspective of they found an error. Is it in my favor or against me? Neither or. It's just an error that they're fixing. And if it does fall in your favor, then great. But then if it doesn't, you can appeal properly now that everything has been denied, laid out, right? CMP exam was supposed to be yesterday with the provider technical difficulties. So it will. Where's the other part, Pooh? Oh, I don't need. Oh, Logan, my CMP was supposed to be yesterday, but the provider had technical difficulties. So will it? Okay, I'm waiting for the next part. Can I file? Let's see. Can I file a claim for PTSD and bipolar? Right now, it's saying non-PTSD. Who's saying non-PTSD for that situation? But yeah, you can file the claims. Again, you're not going to be able to have more than one mental health condition per se. But why are they saying no to that one? Excuse me. Sam League, how would you be able to upgrade? Let's see, RE4, other than honorable. Well, it depends. Look, you're on YouTube, so look at the video of my username, Sailor Act thing. But I have a video, scroll down, that talks about discharge upgrades. You could probably search it easier. But what branch of service were you in is the first question. When did you get out? Because there's a Hagel memo there that makes an argument for some of those things. That's a big one there. As far as how that can potentially look at what was surrounding your discharge. Was it mental health related? The Hagel memo argues that many veterans were discharged with other than honorable, papers because of a mental health condition that wasn't addressed properly, right? So it's not you have bad conduct, there was a PTSD situation. Those arguments not being revisited automatically for the Navy and the Marine Corps, because the video I made, there was a case that was won and put that out there. But it still applies both to Army, Air Force, and all. So that is the argument. Yeah, Marine Corps, check. Yeah, the Hagel memo would be one way to look at it. But again, what was the rationale behind it? What happened? What's the deets, David, shalom. Looking forward to class tonight. Looking forward to seeing you too, my man. Yeah. Just popping in here real quick. Again, I don't know what's gonna happen with TikTok. Do they ban it? Do they not ban it? Look, like I said, I just end up going from talking to two phones like this, to just talking to this phone. That's it. So if you're not following me on other platforms, do so. Same username, because I'm so creative. And get on the newsletter. Again, one monkey don't stop the freaking show. If a platform goes away, guess what? Veterans just go elsewhere. I mean, so how to get secondaries, you file them to something primary, but you have to make an argument. So I use the example of a knee, right? My left knee service connected. I overcompensate to my right knee over years of leaning and wear and tear. My right knee gets bad too. I'm arguing now that my right knee has been made worse, or the situation has caused because of my left knee, overcompensating thing. That's a secondary argument. PD, you move to 90% can be retroactive. CRPD, and they move from can retroactive be legally withheld? Why would they hold it back? I don't see why. Is something going on? Does that mean the provider who evaluated me has to fix? Okay, right. Answer that one. Do you recommend in-person mental health or for med board, or in-person, or either? No, if you can argue, if you can, again, that's not something that you may have a control over. But no, as long as you're able to accurately hit what you need to hit, it's really on the veteran to understand how to speak to what's going on. So, yeah, again, uh, either one doesn't. It's not really a thing. People make it out sometimes more than it is. Who will it fall back on me? I think that was no. It won't fall back on you, but just make sure you call and say, "Hey, I'm ready." Like, when is this gonna happen, right? So they don't make it seem like you didn't show up. So make sure you call them and make a note of it. I've been diagnosed with PD. Yeah, so they'll pick one or the other, mess, yeah, but you won't get both. Conclusion: frostbite, MST, PTSD, 20 minutes radios. Could I get David? No. So maybe and no. You have nothing for that. So it all depends on symptoms, right? What's the symptoms on the mental health that can go from 0 to 100? As far as the tendonitis and all the other things you have, and what have you, what are you dealing with now? Where does that sit still? Symptom based, again. On the mental health side, the common range is 70 or change. Is it 100? Again, mental health can go there by itself. The torn meniscus, that won't really do much. The tendonitis, that won't really do much, right? So unless you go to 100 on mental health, I don't see it. Let's see. What do you mean to appeal properly? So if I get denied, I found an appeal for my board hearing. Yeah, so when you're appealing, like if we're gonna file a claim, you say, "Hey, DP, is this a good argument?" Yep, I believe that's a good argument. You file the claim. The VA denies it. How do we push back? We believe it's a good argument for these reasons. We get more evidence to double down and show them this is what we're arguing. So being able to properly appeal back is knowing why did they deny it. Do we understand why they denied it? Because we have veterans that they'll reach out, whatever. I'm like, okay, do you have a diagnosis? No. Maybe get a diagnosis. Boom, go back and file. Well, I thought they'll give me a diagnosis as the CMP. You were told wrong. They're there to examine you, not diagnose and care for you. You're saying that I have a condition that is disabling, and you're coming to me to evaluate the condition, and then you want me to diagnose the condition too? Is it that bad then? Because apparently it's not, because you haven't seen somebody. I'm working with a veteran who says her VA doc told her BVA doesn't recognize the nexus letter. I have 3 raters I can call right now, tell you otherwise. Again, the veteran says her doctor told the BVA doesn't. Look up Directive 1131-51. There's a directive out there that says they have to do a thing themselves and help. Conversely, when it comes to it, that same doctor who works at the VA tomorrow won't work at the VA. A PhD is a PhD, a doctor's a doctor. Medical evidence is medical evidence. Probative value, look that up. CFR as well. Moral of the story, no. They have to wait out. They have to. Now, will they make it to where it's in your favor? No, but it has to be listed. And again, that they is recognized for one reason. You get denied. Look at the evidence list. If that document is in there, they recognized it, because they can't just not acknowledge it. It may have not weighed in the grand scheme of things, but they have to recognize it because they're going to list it. You know what I mean? So no. I guess they have the evidence for diagnosis for anxiety check, so maybe we go ahead and fix that. Will technical difficulty fall back on me? Nope. Army, I get out this August. They said I qualified medical discharge, but I was too close to my ETS. Check. Yeah, okay, I see that. Just had a CMP exam, need additional information, have some can provide abortion doctrine. What do I do? Let them know what you do have, but you don't have. Write a statement to that effect as far as where you're at with certain things. Let's see. Over on YouTube. Let's see. How do we get second? Okay, got that. We're following you smart to broadcast on multiple platforms. Look, gotta have a plan, David. Have a plan. Um, I'm 80%. What will I need to get 100%? Because BA math is not regular math. A great question. I deployed to Iraq 2009. How do I qualify for PAC Act? Again, a great question, but this is where we see information gaps. So the question is, I'm 80%. How do I get to 100? Well, first of all, anybody that gives you an answer immediately, do not listen to them. Because here's a few things the response is, I don't know. You're 80% for what? When did you get out? What were you exposed to? What you answered? What is the 80% comprised of? Are those things potentially rated as they should, right? So let's look at what you have, then what other conditions do you have? What other diagnoses do you have? Are there secondaries? You could be sitting with migraines at 0. That potentially should have been a 50 based off your symptoms. Boom, there's an argument there. But then you also take meds, and that meds for the migraine has caused some acid reflux GERD problem. Boom, there's secondary there. It depends. Now you're saying PAC Act because you were in Iraq in 2009. Me too, by the way. Again, PAC Act is not the thing. You have the umbrella of Gulf War. PAC Act expanded things. So it's now, do you have respiratory problems? Because that's one of the presumptives. Do you have GI problems? That's one of the presumptives. IBS, GERD, right? Respiratory issues, COPD, and what have you. So it really depends. I'm saying that's the reason where it's like, okay, what are you working with? Because you may have an argument or you may not have an argument. You may have to wait for things to develop or not. So some things to look at there, right? But again, a teaching moment. Pastor K is 40% a good rating. It's over 30, so the family benefits get in there as far as that's concerned. So you get paid for dependents after 30. But it's subjective, right? I'm saying like your severity of symptoms and disabilities, rate that. That's what it is. If some people can argue, say, well, no, you should have at least 100. Well, 100% PNT has tax breaks and all of the benefits and all these things, but not everybody goes there. Um, I really don't know how to answer that in good faith, right? Because I believe that not everybody's 100. What's your situation? What's the 44? Is it rated properly? So when you ask me that, I don't answer it as it's good or bad. Rather, I think, what's the 44? Talk to me. Again, same as my other brother here, right? What branch were you in? When did you serve? What did you do? What do you have? How long you been out? What problems do you have? What's the 44? What's the 40 caused? So that's how I look at it because it's more so, are things covered correctly? Because if everything is, then yeah, it's a 40. But conversely, after these questions being answered, it's like, no, you should be 80. Not that it's good or bad. It's just that the symptoms and things prove to be there. All right. Um, yeah, I'm TDIU. Yep. And okay, I'm TDIU. Yes, yeah. Check. Okay, got you, Cortez. Or if denied for anxiety due to no diagnosis, should I wait to go to the VA and make an appointment? Or private provider, Ronnie, either one. A diagnosis is a diagnosis. But then, even then, you have the anxiety, but how are you going to argue it? Direct to service or secondary or something else? Just strategy. That's the name of this game. All this stuff is maneuvering. That's why, again, I joke about it in my lives, but it's to say that I'm not pushing anything. I'm teaching class tonight. Yeah, come on down if you want to. $47. Um, but if you're gonna get help, make sure that the help you get, no matter who it is, can break things down to you. If I'm providing more value to you and I can explain things better to you that makes sense to you than the person you're supposedly paying, pump the brakes and reset. What's going on here, right? And it's not a me saying come to me thing, but it's me saying make sure that you know what to expect. Because if you know, okay, I need guidance, I need help, you should be giving me something, or I know that, hey, look, where's education? Where's the things? Um, that's not there. We have a problem. So I say that because again, that has to be something that I think our vets need to know when it comes to the space. Um, and I say that to say, in this case, right, denied for anxiety due to no diagnosis, right? First of all, why was the claim filed with no diagnosis? That's the first one. I would have never co-signed on that. And if we do have a diagnosis of anxiety, what's the argument? Did you complain in service for it? Okay, maybe there's no argument to direct to service, but maybe the argument is secondary to something else. So something has caused anxiety, something that's service related. If yes or no, then we proceed. So when it comes to this, I'm saying this because look at how I'm answering questions. You're asking me a question. I ask you something. You give me something back. I'm giving you information. And some folks are like, "Oh crap, my so and so fill in the blank didn't give me that much." Okay, that sounds like a them problem. Like level your game up, step your game up. But to do this again, we have to show people that there are people helping. There are ways. Expect more, demand more. But in this case here, they should know their stuff. Because again, people don't do lives because you can't make this shit up. I'm not sitting here trying to look up something. What do I know? I don't know. I'm sitting here answering it live. That's hard for a lot of people. But then I'm also a glutton for pain because then I'm on TikTok and YouTube. So I'm live on two places at the same time, answering questions back and forth, back and forth. like this is mentally taxing in the sense of like doing all this stuff while still, trying to educate, answer a question, but for everybody to learn something. So, there's levels to the game. And if whoever's helping you isn't, reevaluate that. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, you can, Andrea. There's a directive 11/31/51. Well, so it escapes me now. But there's a directive in place. The VA, they're directed to help a veteran fill out documents for VA claim purposes. The problem is a nexus letter is a persuasive medical opinion to help you argue something, right? I'm a doctor. You come to me, Andrea, and you failed in service, broke a leg, fast forward 20 years, leg problems. I see the records of broken leg in service. I see problems today, x-rays of things broken. In my medical opinion, obviously this is related to that. That's what I'm arguing to help you make your argument. Uh, is that VA provider going to do that? They are required to, but they will hesitantly do it and they won't offer it. So it's like, do you really want to go on a date with someone who's forced to date you or they get written up? You know what I mean? So I would ask a question, see if they're receptive to it. If you get a stonewall type of thing, I'm like, okay, first of all, I don't even want you to dance with me if that's the attitude you got, because you're not going to help me. So that's that part. Can I file? Yeah, yeah. Again, medical argument. That's yeah. We could do that. Jaron, is it okay to record my CMP exam? Don't do that. Don't do that. Recording people without consent. That's opening up a whole can of worms, and it's not going to do what you think it's going to do anyway. So where are you going to submit the recording to? So no, a memo for record of what happened holds way more weight than speaking to the mic. I would not advise that. Had a bad feeling about it, and he didn't go by my DBQ. Then write it up, Jake. Simple. Write it up. What happened? Who? What? When? Why? This is what the VA spent money on. This did not happen. Challenge the exam. Submit that with the VA claim if they haven't made a decision yet, and have them rectify it. That may mean that they call you for another CMP. Can medical evidence be submitted after CMP exam? I would not do that because the exam is to examine you, and if you now provide information after the fact, that may warrant them to have to get another CMP exam done. So if it wasn't in there in the first place, why wasn't it in there in the first place, right? My claim sits in HLR, VA takes sleep apnea, hiatal hernia, and make them presumptive. Weird because sleep apnea isn't presumptive, but they could be lumping it in there because there could be an argument for it. Some things may be presumptive. The sleep apnea isn't, but again, if they're just lumping it in there with that, it's just one of those things where like that won't apply for that. But if they're saying that it's related to that or caused by one of those things in there, they're probably bundling it up. Let's see. You do evaluation of claims. How does one get started? I have pain and disabilities, Joey. Yeah, conversation. You want to talk to one of my advisors, links in my bio, just have a call. No pressure. See where you're at. We'll give you some perspective. Maybe you need a class. DeAndre, what's going on, my brother? Let's see. 40% knee problems, fractured my wrist, served 2.5 years Army, but currently suffer from respiratory cardiac, which was not in my military medical records. Again, so where did you serve, right? Those might not be arguments potentially to have because that made things be things you were exposed to after. But then, of course, maybe you were in the hull of a ship 8 hours, 12 hours a day, and it was asbestos and all these different things. So again, right, where were you at? What was going on? What's some of the context and feedback in that situation there? But on the back and knee fracture risk, yeah, 40% sounds about right. Right? But then the argument becomes, is that also causing you other issues in life? So let's say we're arguing anxiety secondary to those things that are rated, then that's a whole different argument. It brings a whole different rating. And let's say you get 50% for that, right? So 50 to your 40. Excuse me, there you go. I recommend to any combat veterans, only combat related injuries are. I recommend to any combat veteran to file CRC. Only combat related injury claims are awarded if they qualify for that, yeah, and then in that category. Duty to assist, have you seen this all the time? Basically, something was missing that they didn't do, and they have to correct it. So they had to have made an effort to help. Does it help you realistically? Is it okay to record a CMP exam? Nope, don't do that. Terrell, hey, my brother, what's going on, man? I don't. You might have sent me the message, but let me know, man. One, hilarious, love your video with the dogs. I was literally telling my wife about your video, and basically touching it and like touching, a black woman's hair, like that. I love that video. I have a service dog, so it's the whole thing about service dog, right? Like, don't touch my service dog. He made a great video about it, and it was like, hey, look, would you go up somebody's hair and be like touching it? Like, no, you wouldn't. Say, fuck on my face. So I say all that to say that. Let me know what your situation is. I know. Thanks for the feedback on the website. I appreciate you on that. Let me know what you said you were 80% or something like that. And I had asked you. You may have answered already, but I haven't seen it yet. Where you're at with your situation, and I'll hit you back for sure to see where you're at. I appreciate your help, so I want to be able to return the favor in kind. Would I get any money for depression, anxiety? No, you will not get any money for depression, anxiety. Now, if your anxiety and depression is disabling, and you can argue it is service related, and you get rated for it, depending on the level of the impairment, you can be compensated for that. TikTok just got banned, 365 to 65. Oh yeah, again. So yeah, they got 6 months to figure it out, sell the farm, do a thing. There's billions of dollars in this mix. So again, what they're gonna do? Sell it to like an American company? Who knows what's gonna happen on TikTok? But I'm on TikTok here. I'm on YouTube here. If it closes down on TikTok and you're wondering what happened to all the great, veteran BDP situation, I'm on TikTok, same username. I mean, I'm on I'm on YouTube, same username. So make sure you're following me there, in case this falls by the wayside. Not, I keep saying one monkey don't stop the show. Like like operations in military, right? We lost this capability. Oh well, the mission continues. See you on freaking YouTube. You know what I mean? Be reactive, be ready. Like I don't care. Like some people are like, oh my god, it's going away. What do we do before it? You know what I mean? We go back to Facebook. I don't give a damn. Snapchat. I don't know about that one. Okay, appreciate you. I worked as a work study. I know it's hard, for sure. Okay, Pastor K, honored. Thank you, thank you. Is it hard to get proof what tinnitus? So no, it's subjective when it comes to tinnitus, right? Do you have tinnitus? One, right? Do you have the symptoms? Two, in service, did it start those noises? Three, right? Like those are the main things to look at. It's subjective, right? I was exposed to a thing. This is my reality. A lot difficult. It's just sometimes the diagnosis is not there, or they can't point to the symptoms themselves, or they can't point to the fact that and speaking to that, I have a video on tinnitus. You could check that out too, and I kind of break down the key things from medical journals as far as like what's tinnitus. Some people it's not a ringing, some people it's a humming, some people it's a buzzing, some people it's different things, and like, oh, I didn't know it's tinnitus. You know what I mean? So not being able to speak to the symptoms and how it impairs you and how it bothers you, it hurts the veteran because it's kind of like, oh, I have tinnitus, just give it to me. So not difficult, no, but just know exactly how to make the argument there. Let me see. Okay, we got that one. Duty to says error. Terrell, okay, right, back to that one. How much does insomnia account for? Again, insomnia, the big change basically is they're now recognizing it as a diagnosis, which it is. But for video rating purposes, it was always looked at as a symptom of something. So it was PTSD with insomnia or this with that. Whereas now it can be its own thing. So if you have no mental health rating, you could potentially get rated for insomnia straight through and through. That's the big change. But if you already have mental health, then it won't be a thing. So it won't be basically like but it's rated analogous. So analogous means that there is no rating for insomnia, but they're rating it analogous to mental health, aka it's going to take on the symptoms of mental health. So it will be rated as mental health, which means you should know mental health symptoms to speak to the level of impairment of your insomnia. These VA appointment wait times are ridiculous. Man, look, don't come on this live triggering me. Talk about some VA appointments, man. We all know this. Mate, you reminded me of how much I had to wait the last time. It is insane, man. Try the ER. Me and my wife, she's a veteran as well. We were at the ER one time. Man, look, the ER sucks. The VA doing it. Fine, signed up. Look forward to speaking with you and the team. Awesome. Yeah. All right. I'm waiting for the appeal decision. Will help. Awesome. Yes, sir. Fingers crossed. Kevin just actually got his CPAP and he won. So how do I know how much points to hit during a mental health exam? How do I know which points to hit? Honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not even gonna bullshit you because I'm about to jump off this shit. I will hit on mental health very heavily tonight in my class, CMP, HCMP class. I touch on mental health very, very, very heavily. And when it comes to what points, again, that's a loaded question because it's a you question. So again, I break down the process of how we speak to symptoms. I can't tell you a point to hit because it's not that. It's what is it for you? What are you dealing with? What are your situations? And can you speak to the real levels of a thing? Some of us have problems. I have a video 50 to 70, 70 to 100. For example, at the 50 to 70 range, it's difficult for me to make friends and keep associates. Okay. At the 70 range, I have the inability to have friends or associates. Veterans are like, oh, it's there, it's difficult. I'm like, dude, you've been divorced 5 times. Your kids don't want to talk to you. You have no friends around. You're a fucking hermit. It's not difficult for you to establish friendships and keep them close. You have an inability. You have to open up Pandora's box. Stop pacifying shit. Open it up. Really talk about how deep the situations are. Again, I can't really go into detail with that here because it's social media and it's community guidelines and I'll get banned and freaking just it's a thing. In class, different conversation. But again, it depends on you. And I touch on understanding and finding that. So when I say your truth is enough, trust me, it is. But you may not like what it is because it may require you to really speak about a thing. So it depends, how real you're trying to get. You trying to get real, or like a little bit real. because it's your rating. Let's see. I had croons from the day I ETS, but the only back paid me from the day I filed. Nope, it won't go back, John. It goes to when you filed the claim, not when you left service. You're welcome. Appreciate you. Beanie. Thanks for the tips. It helped me today in my CMP exam for rhinitis and migraines. Diego coming at you from Puerto Rico. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that worked out for you. And the tips helped. Again, you know what I mean? Different strokes to rule the world, man. Let me know how that goes, though. I always like to know these things. So once the decision comes back, I'd like to know how that worked out for you, Diego. Mi hermanito Diego, killing it allá en Puerto Rico, mi gente. Well, I'm Dominican, but we're all family. I just got me a second letter from the VA saying they're still working on my claim, good or bad. It's still good. Let's just work on it. That's all. Do you think high level evaluation are worth going for? Yes. Well, no. The question is, are higher level evaluations worth going for? It depends. If you have everything you needed in the claim, right, then yes. If you are not too sure, then it's like a no, because 2 + 1 is not 4. You're missing something, you'll never get 4. So if I don't know the details, or like I wasn't a part of that conversation, because like if our folks, you got denied, we're gonna go high level review because you weren't gonna file a bullshit claim. You put in there what you needed. But it is worth it if those things are there. You get a second view, second pair of eyes. You cannot add new information. So if you were missing a diagnosis, supplemental, because a high level review can only evaluate what was presented, and if it was missing something, it will not work for you. So it depends, Beanie, on that regard. I'm overseas. I keep hearing needs a U.S. number to file a VA claim. Sometimes being close to the embassy is a thing. So there's a few different factors to that. Not really. My claim is in step 3 for 3 months. Does it really take that long? Yep, it does. I need to set up an appointment to discuss PCOS. Okay. Main account for live guests. Can you question that? On main account, you can. Okay, I don't know what that is. Goodness, where is this class? The class that I teach is tonight. Tonight I'm teaching my HRCMP class. The link's in my bio for that. And then next week is our BDD class for actively transitioning people. So all the questions, we put together this whole class for them, this course for them to have access to it. It's the whole thing. I'm excited for it. It's dope. Check it out. Links in bio. It breaks all that stuff down. But everything I'm talking about as far as like what I do, links in bio for that stuff. Have you heard anything about the new proposed plan for mental health? Will it happen? Jonathan, no, it's just proposed. They proposed it in 2022, February. They had till April to get feedback in, and the deadline for decision is June of this year. And if it goes through, we don't know. So not necessarily where we're at, but it's a trendy topic because people, it's social media. And I mean, like, I know the game, and sometimes I just abhor it, but it's just catchy to make videos scaring people. So if I do a video, the fact that I went to go see a World War II veteran last week, one of my vets, World War II, 96 years old, helping him out, filed his first claim last year, won his claim, check. It's a feel-good story. It's a good post to share. No one's paying attention. I make a video, they're coming to free mental health claim. Views, engagement galore. Like, people are, like, they're inclined to the negative. So I understand when these content creators go for that angle of loss. It's fear aversion. If I say, hey, fight for your benefits, you can get an increase, you don't care. The VA is coming for tinnitus. Oh, what do I do? I get it. The world that I operate in. But I can't tell you, honestly. It's pushback. But even if it does happen, I'm going to tell you the truth. I teach my classes in a way where it doesn't matter. If the changes come, I know how we're going to argue. I understand that sleep apnea currently says required CPAP. The change proposes for it to be the CPAP is ineffective, or BPAP, or whatever you have. The argument now is it's ineffective. We can argue it because of claustrophobia. We can argue it because of dermatitis. We can argue it because of all these different things. Mask doesn't fit, respiratory issues, sinusitis issues. Again, boom. Mental health, symptoms are gone. They go from DSM-5 to WHO 2.0. 5 areas of your life that's impacted. Interpersonal, this, that, the third. Let's talk about the impairment level in those areas of life. That's how I teach my class. No keywords. You can speak to the level of impairment in these areas of your life. Same argument, just now we have to understand how to phrase it. That's how I tackle it. So that's why I'll never hit keywords, because if you understand how to speak to those areas of your life, it hits the keywords. So when it comes to the changes, too easy. And for tinnitus, same thing. It just goes on to hearing loss. Again, there, boom, I just gave you three ways that freaking we clap back if that happens. Okay. I have migraine exam this month. Okay, check. Frequency. I have a video on that you can check out too. Intensity, frequency, and economic adaptability. So people have a lot of migraines every single day. It's horrible, whatever. But you don't talk about work impact, how it affects you at the 50 range. That's going to hold you back. So people are like, oh, it should be 50. Did you speak about the economic and adaptability? It says intensity, frequency, and economic adaptability for the 50% range. But again, even something like that, like, oh, I've never heard anybody talk about that. It's in the daggone CFR. Like, you're filing a claim, you don't know how it's freaking rated, and people helping you can't even tell you that. Oh, just do legal art. You never said to this thing. You did not introduce the proper things to make the argument. You went into a fight unprepared. Okay. Appreciate all the support there. Make sure you're following. Get on my newsletter. Links on my bio. Having PTSD cancel a sharp claim. Nope, it doesn't. Upper level review. I'm an upper level BBA employee, and you are 100% on point. Thanks for your service. Shut it down. Boom, bang, bing. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, there it is. I appreciate you saying that. I'm an upper level BBA employee, and you're 100% on point. Thanks for your service. I mean, the facts are the facts. You know what I mean? We have to know these things, right? The system isn't rigged against you. Like, here you have a veteran who's watching on TikTok, or rather, here is an individual who just comments, says, I work at the BBA. I'm a higher level BBA employee. You are 100% correct. The point at hand is that's not a douchebag that woke up today saying, I'm going to screw veterans over. No. It's an organization. You know what I'm saying? Like, the DMV sucks sometimes, but moral of the story, understanding how to make the argument to the VA. I'm doing my job. Give me what I want. If anything, here's a crazy concept. It's harder to deny you than rate you. So if I have to deny you, I have to then make a whole argument as to why you don't meet a thing and do all this crap versus, yup, you got it, give it to them. It's obviously more complicated than that, my people. But my point is, it's more work on them to actually do that. So trust me, they're looking for what they need to do what they got to do. It's not a thing against you. It's the veterans are filing crap because you heard PAC Act and throw it against the wall. You can't file PAC Act. It's not a claim. You can't file Agent Orange. Not a claim. You can't file Gulf War syndrome. Not a claim. If you don't understand direct to service claims, or what the secondaries are, or what presumptives are, or aggravation claims, or presumptive, then you pump the brakes. You ain't ready to file a claim. Because if you don't understand the basics, how do you go into the VA and speak to what is happening? You came into the service with flat feet. You're filing the service caused it. You're gonna get denied every day of the week. The service didn't cause the flat feet, but they told me to say everything's hard in service. You got a waiver to go in service with flat feet. You are arguing the service made it worse. Words mean things. Aggravation, not causation. Even that simple concept is at least 20 veterans I've talked to in the past few weeks. Situation. It took me 10 years to get this realization. It took me 5 minutes to give you that. Again, not a me thing, but more so like, why is this conversation not happening? Because people are too busy sometimes pointing fingers, don't work with them, don't do this, don't do that. Look, measure it somewhere else. Show up, do something, help. I don't care who, how, why. Anyway, how do I sign up to meet you and your team? Links in my bio. I teach a class tonight, HCCMP. You're more than welcome to jump into that. But if you want to have a call, I have an assessment call. Talk to my team. They'll kind of see where you're at. We're not pushing you, telling you crap. Again, some people need classes, some people need more. It's all free, just to kind of get an advice of where you're at, and then you figure out and do what you do. I added some slots to my schedule, but I would advise you to get on my schedule only because it's so people have asked for this. So again, this is the craziest thing. So do not go and book appointment in my schedule. I'm not trying to reverse sell you here. But people have asked, like, hey, I have a team. It's free call. It's an assessment. It's just kind of overview. But some folks are like, hey, look, I know what I'm doing. I just want to have an hour review, a CMP prep. I just want to talk to you and tell you my story and you giving your feedback. Like, I get you have a team. I get you do this. I get you do that. But can I talk to you? I don't have the bandwidth for that. So it's come up a lot. So I've opened up and I'm opening up my schedule. So Mondays and Fridays, I have a few slots I kind of open up as I can between what I'm doing. And that's an hour there, right? But that's a paid hour. Like, you're paying for that. $97. But my point is, like, for who values that and needs that, yes. But I wouldn't advise someone like, hey, I'm looking for some attention. Like, don't do that. Like, talk to my crew, do a thing. They're great. They're my crew. But what I'm doing is specifically for someone that wants a more deeper level thing that they know they want. So it's not a thing like, hey, come talk to me and pay me. I'm not asking for that. I'm answering your question right here. But just to be transparent, because I don't want people to see stuff and they'd be like, oh my God, you said that, but your link tree said this. No. Let's see. You're welcome, Jonathan. Please listen to my promise. He knows what he's talking about. Trey, I appreciate you. Yeah, I saw your video about migraines. Check. So yeah, you on the beanie. Come on now. You saw the video? Man, it's lock cock ready to go. I got denied for MST. You should probably have a conversation with Amy on my team. Go to my website, go to contact us, look up Amy. She's rated for MST. She's one of my advisors. And you go from there. BDD means benefit delivery at discharge. So like back in the day it was TAPS. Now that last 180 days of service, you can file a claim and use those last few days to do the VA claim process. So benefit delivery at discharge means they're doing all the VA claim things. And textbook, they ETS, they discharge, and immediately they are awarded their benefits and collect. Beneficiaries, yeah, that's an argument. Benefits of discharge. Chrissy, thank you, Chrissy. Let's see. Over on TikTok, I mean on YouTube. Let's see, CJ. Wait a second. Okay, got that. Being uncomfortably vulnerable and let them see the darkness. 100%, David. Just got recommended for MEB a week ago. Certainly, I'll hit the medical retirements. Watching you guys close, learn about this whole VA process. Seems nobody's going to help you, but you will see. 100%, Nick. And that's why I literally created the class I'm teaching next week. So the question about people leaving, all these different things is a big one. So the BDD class, navigating the BDD process, you know, a roadmap from A to B, it's touching on the whole process of somebody a year out from service leaving, or 2 years, or 6 months out, or going through the process. What is the BDD claim? What am I supposed to do to get myself ready together? Because I never complain about anything. What do I do for a CMP exam? What do I do if I get denied? How do I push back at a bad CMP? Okay, I got my ratings. I leave service, things get worse later. How do I do that? So all those different things are big questions that we get. So the course we put together for that. So it's going to be an on-demand class. It'll be available on my website. But this first one, I want to do it live. So we're going to do it live. That's going to be Tuesday. Links in my bio for that. Look at the page, see what it's about. But for things like that, right? That's the reason why. It seems nobody's going to help you but you. And that's the wrong answer. So go to my link in bio, get a free checklist. Boom, that's why. Here it is. Look at these things, follow the checklist. You want to jump into class? There it is. So that's one of the biggest things of why these things were created, right? Like sometimes I'll put a video out, hey, I'm going to take some calls. I want to hear what's going on. Okay, you need this. You keep asking for this. You keep asking for this. Let's create that because, you know, listen to the people. Rated 30%, but symptoms have gotten worse. Disability is making life much worse. If I submit an increased rating, do I risk losing everything? No, because it got worse, right? It's like, doc, the meds don't work. I need stronger dosage. Rating ain't covering it. Things are getting worse. But then also, CJ, it's what is rated 30%? What are the symptoms you're arguing? Because, so for example, you know, let's say you and I have a risk condition. It's carpal tunnel, they're rated 10%. Let's just say that's what it is. There's no more. It's just rated 10%. However, because of my carpal tunnel, I just live life. You, on the other hand, were a carpenter, electrician, or a surgeon. That impairs you much more than me. Your argument is this has got much worse, is making my life whatever. I'm not a doctor anymore. All the things. Carpal tunnel is not going to get rated anymore. But you're arguing now the impact to your life. That's a secondary claim off the carpal tunnel. So my point is that there's different things at play. Sometimes a veteran's arguing something like, dude, it's not that. It's not the left knee. It's all the pain meds you're on. It caused a freaking, you know, GERD or whatever the case may be. So understanding what do you mean when things got worse and what actually is happening, because maybe the rated condition is making other things bad. And that gives you an argument pathway to argue to the VA. It's not reaching or trying to win over the system. It's understand that's how it is. Let's get to the root of the problem and see what's it infected or affected along your life. CMP tomorrow for secondary GERD. I take and I can't take an acid anymore. Okay. That's what okay, got you, problem. Never seen by a doctor when I was getting out of the military. Does it affect my claims? No, Andy, it's common. People don't. You know what I mean? I signed up in the military to serve, not to go to the doctor. And that's kind of the mentality. Fast forward, oh crap, I'm not young anymore. What are all these problems? So it's common for folks to sometimes have very limited medical evidence, but you still have the problems you have. So now how do we point it back to the VA? How do we point out here are all the things? Why else do my knees are jacked and my back, etc.? Well, maybe because I jumped out of an aircraft 200 times. Because a regular person, same lifestyle without that part, right, would not have these issues. Clear as day. I never complained about it. Check, but I still got the problem, right? So the conversation of disabilities, Andy, is a present day conversation. So I like to frame this for veterans this way. You have a disability that you maybe never complain about in service, but present tense, you have the symptoms, the severity, the impairment, check. So it's like, hey, look, my car got freaking rear-ended. I never complained about it, but now the thing won't even start. Well, look at it. You see the proof. It's this freaking hit. This is an old-ass freaking accident while I was in service. And now arguing that, yeah, should I, could I, would have, I get all that. But yeah, it is common. It's just now arguing backwards to show a thing, and then supplement medical evidence is needed. 6 years to retirement. Appreciate the knowledge you provide. Appreciate you, Ryan. I mean, when you get discharged, going through the out processing, I never seen a doctor. Check. Yeah, yeah. So that's the BDD thing probably didn't go the way it should have, which is bad as well. But even then, you still have the ability afterward to argue there. All right, so CJ, hope that makes sense there. Lavelle, hey brother, the new sub here. Great content. About 3 months for my BDD. I have diagnosis for several high value claims. I'm worried about things I might not have to get seen for. Is the CMP key for diagnosis? Do not do the CMP for diagnosis. No. So when you're going to the CMP, it's more so this is to be evaluated on a problem, not for you to identify and recognize and diagnose the problem, but rather you're there to examine it, right? By definition. So I would say you want to have a diagnosis for sure, not rely on the CMP to do that thing. Just because you have a thing, like I'm not waiting for the CMP to get diagnosed for migraines, dude. I got migraines. I gotta go see a neurologist right now, and I'm filing a claim too. So that's that part there. If you haven't, Lavelle, get the link in my bio. I have a BDD checklist for that. I've been talking about the BDD workshop class that we created in response to many BDD people. That's happening next Tuesday. So it'll be an on-demand class, but those that can sign up for the live one, they'll have access to everything we created. So there'll be resources, things in there. You log in, you have an account, it's a whole thing that we created for them. And you can see the video replayed as well. So even if you get out, in a year, you can come back to it and have those resources there. So that's happening next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Links on bio for all these different things. But the free BDD checklist, you can check that out. And that's going to be dope. What's going on, Philem? If you're still suffering from the effects of PTSD, what's a proper wording or claim to get? So the wording for an increase is worsening, right? It's gotten worse, right? You can speak to the symptoms harder. Things are not difficult. Things are impossible. It used to bother me a little bit. Now it's completely destroying the thing. So severity, that's a conversation. Worsening of the symptoms, speaking to the symptoms, knowing how the things are evaluated. Look at the video that I have here, 50 to 70, 70 to 100 mental health ratings. I break that down for the 50 to 70 argument and the 70 to 100 argument. And that'll be very helpful for their Javon. How do I explain my hip tear secondary hernia? It's just I have ortho sayings due to my back. Heather, you're gonna need a medical opinion. Nexus letter for sure. That's gonna need some medical help. So you yourself are gonna need some more medical help to help argue that. Mental health coming up 28th. Any advice? Honestly, Johnny, as I'm about to jump into class tonight. Honestly, I'm teaching my ACE or CMP class tonight, and I break down mental health in great detail. And I've literally done that about 3 times in this lab already. So that's just the problem with lives, is because you jump in when you can jump in. So it's not a good class per se. But as far as any advice, there's a lot. Look at the videos I have in here. Again, the 50 to 70, 70 to 100 mental health rating. Google my name, PTSD, CMP. Look at my playlist. There's a lot to unpack. So not shying away from it. Just saying that it's a lot. So I definitely will look into my class. Just because I'm literally gonna jump off and I gotta take a break before I start class here in a few hours. BD claiming since August and they're still waiting for my damn STRs. Hurry up and wait. Make you lose my mind. Yep. Filing for a claim will literally cause a condition. Can you be any type of law enforcement? I am a federal. I am a medically retired federal law enforcement officer. So I came from that world and had my ratings and so forth. I'm medically retired for other conditions. So yeah. But going into it, sometimes that could be a problem for some folks because of the hiring aspects. But those that are in, things that go up afterward, there's many ways that kind of goes. Federal, state, tribal, city, depends kind of where you're at too. Have a mental health exam coming up on the 28th. Same answer for that one. Question hearing that claim that was service connected, but I had a hearing claim that was service connected. Yeah, 0 is a rating. It just means that it doesn't warrant anything more than a 0 because of the severity of the hearing loss. I was increased, had diagnosis for 100%, but received only 6. How do I HLR? I was increased. I had diagnosis for diagnosis for what? What's 100% specifically, Cynthia? No, for the hearing it's hard because again it's exams, right? Auditory discrimination of words, right? Because you make out things, that entire process. So all that comes back, the numbers are there, they match it up. Your hearing numbers, all that stuff doesn't matter anything past 0. So a higher level review won't really help you. It's just the way that the hearing aspect works. G Money, class tonight. What playlist on my profile? You'll see it has like playlists with CMP, general things, and things like that. You have something recorded on certain classes. Yeah, I have videos, put it, stuff like that, and we're creating some more new things. What are my thoughts on diabetes secondary? Yeah, it's an argument too, because that's using the same argument you use for sleep apnea. So, what I think about diabetes secondary to PTSD, if we were using weight as intermediary step, and you can argue to that, it's the same argument almost like sleep apnea. So, yeah, that makes sense to me every day of the week. But you're gonna need a nexus letter and the medical argument to help support that, Matt. So simple said, but profoundly helpful information. This is awesome. Thank you for better understanding. You're welcome, Pastor. And again, that's the whole thing. Like, I promise you, I can confuse about 80% of y'all if I just want to sound smart. And people do that sometimes. And my problem with that with social media is that how does that help anybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to try to impress you. I'm here to answer your question and help you understand how to solve the problem. I don't want to give you fishes. So when someone says, "How do I have advice?" You know what? Pastor K, shoot me an email, shoot me a message. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where you at. Shoot me a message, shoot me an email. Go to my link in bio. I'll freaking comp you one. Come to class tonight or next one. The point is, I want I hook you up because it literally just right now answering you literally clicks this in my head. So if you've been watching me for a while or watching this for a while, it literally is this. When I answer questions, if you realize it, it's like when someone says, "Do I have any advice? Do I have any tips?" It's similar to saying, "Do I have any fish?" So Pastor K, thinking Pastor Fishes, I don't give fishes away. I want to teach you how to fish. That's the secret here. When you ask me a question, do I have tips? I don't have tips. What do you have? Let's talk through this because if you understand how to get fish, you're not gonna go hungry. You do rely on people to give you fish, you're dependent on people. And it's like that's the problem. So again, to try to explain to people, because I know sometimes like, well, just get to the answer. I'm like, I'm sorry, go somewhere else for that. It's about simplifying it to the way that veterans can understand the problem. If you understand this space and you understand how to solve problems, you should be able to break it down Barney style, make it simple. If you can't do that, then you don't understand it. If you can't take a complex thing and make it simple to understand, you do not understand that complex thing. You just know things, but you're still trying to be very highly educated, speak highly educated things, and say CFR and M21-1 and all these different things. But okay, in English, what the hell does that mean? All right. So yeah, that's literally what I do. I'm in the business of teaching veterans how to fish when it comes to VA claims versus giving them fishes. I don't have tips or advices for you, but I can teach you how to tackle the situation. So when I say your truth is enough, it is if you understand how to fish. My man, Pastor K. Alrighty. Hearing aids get you a percentage? Nope, it does not. It's based on the numbers of the hearing things. Help me in my appeal soon. Attorney helping me in my appeals hearing soon. 7 claim for your process. How can I have dependence to my VA compensation? Lives overseas. John, if you're over 30, you go online at them. Does it help to have a private dog fill out TBQ? Yeah, if you can, it definitely does help Wisconsin because you're bringing your own medical evidence into the conversation. 80% still can get denied for sleep apnea. Get diagnosed with sleep apnea. Have a CPAP. When you're given a CPAP, it's automatically 50. No, it's not, Andrea. So that's medical. So we'll close with this. When we're filing claim, Jonathan, understand healthcare, BVA. BVA is Veterans Benefit Administration. BHA is Veterans Healthcare Administration. Having a diagnosis of sleep apnea requires now medical, devices of a CPAP. That's healthcare. When you're now looking to file rather a VA claim, that goes to BVA, Veterans Benefit Administration. Think of it like Social Security and Medicare. Medicare doesn't equal Social Security. So now, yeah, you have a sleep apnea situation. Check, got it. What does that have to do with the compensation? I don't have to pay for that. Prove it. Make the argument. Diagnosis, in service event or stressor, and a nexus to connect those things. So those other processes are there. So you have one of the others, but how do we connect it back to service? Well, they didn't complain in service. Was not direct to service. Maybe something else caused it. That's a secondary argument. There's the argument to make. A nexus letter may help potentially, and that's how you would go about it. But if you don't understand that line of reasoning and argument, again, did the sleep apnea get caused by something else you have that you're rated for? The 80% was weight gain part of the conversation. Whatever the case may be, that in turn is the argument. That's how we get the evidence in place to make the argument to the VA. Absent those things, you'll be denied every single time. Very informative. I mean, thank you. Appreciate you, Matt. Memory issues, again, depending on what is a mental health situation, it's TBI, so that's just a symptom of a bigger thing. Leadership assist error just means they've missed something they had to do and they didn't do it, so they're going to do it. It doesn't mean it's good or bad, it just means they forgot to check a box, so they're going to help you get that box checked. All right, good people, that's what I have for the day. I came for 5 minutes and we're here at 100 minutes, so there's that. But I appreciate y'all for hanging out for a little bit. The whole point of being on here for about an hour and a half is just to say that no matter what happens or what may change, or if TikTok goes away, same username across all platforms. I'm on YouTube as well. Make sure you get there because, again, one monkey don't stop the show. And if one platform goes away, economy in motion, cut sling load, and we keep moving. So you got questions, we got answers. Just make sure you know how to get to us. So get on my newsletter, follow me where I'm at, so you know how to get there. So TikTok goes away, I don't miss a beat. I'll just keep talking because right now I'm live on TikTok, I'm live on YouTube. Glutton for Pain, live at the same time twice. But class tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you have a CMP coming up, check it out. Links in my bio. But aside that, have a great one. If I missed your question, I apologize. I'll pop back in. Hope you're all doing well. Don't get all freaked out about rumor mills and changes and all the crazy stuff that people get all fanboyed about. Let's solve problems. That's the whole thing, right? We're in the business of teaching people how to fish. Pass the K. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day. Hope you're well. Good luck to y'all if you have a CMP exam. And if it's pending, let me know how it goes when you see me again, or comment it somewhere and I'll respond to you.